Hello and welcome to another episode of Espresso da, 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 with Aaron and Sarit. And today we're going to be talking about how to lose weight without losing your social life.
Ooh.
How to lose weight without losing your social life. Okay, because you know damn well as good as we do that when you're trying to lose weight, but you also want to go to happy hour, things get a little dicey, right? So how do we do both? That's what today's conversation is about.
Whether you are a happy hour type of person or not, this conversation goes beyond this.
Fill in happy hour with whatever your jam is. Maybe it's like holiday events. Maybe you have like game night every Friday, or there's like pizza nights or girls' nights or whatever nights or days or afternoons or breakfasts. Anybody besides me, by the way, ever eat ice cream for breakfast?
Do you?
I have before. I don't, but I have.
Yeah, sure. Well, most people start their day with a dessert.
A donut or a croissant or a pastry or a scone.
Okay, for anybody who is in the chat, drop in the comments how long you've been in our community. And prior to the ES Army, if you had a dessert for breakfast, what was your dessert of choice?
Pumpkin scone.
Yeah, let's
Okay,
see.
what's yours?
So, I mean, my breakfast has evolved as follows. It started with a dessert.
Okay, but what?
So, if you don't know this, I grew up in Israel, and in Israel, we have this incredible cereal that I almost feel sorry for anybody who hasn't tried it before.
Kariot.
Yes, it is called kariot, which stands for pillows. It is shaped like a pillow, and it is it's almost like a wafer on the outside, and on the inside, it's like chocolate nougat. And
if anybody has had like oatmeal squares, it's like the outside is like that same shape. It's like a square, puffy.
But it's not oatmeal, so it's like sturdier.
But it's
wheat.
It's not super soft though, like a wafer. Like it's not like flaky.
Right.
It's kind of hard.
Yeah. And like I would warm it up for 20 seconds, so it'll get just soft enough, but the milk will still stay cold. And it was so good. I would have 2 bowls of that. And then my breakfast evolved to, so when we moved to Jamaica, we got introduced to those American muffins that are like massive.
Oh, like the Costco size.
Yes.
Chocolate chip.
Yes, but the ones that come like in single serve, like in a bag. And I would get the chocolate chip one for sure. So
double delicious.
It used to be that and a glass of orange juice for breakfast.
You would have chocolate chip with orange juice.
Yes. And
hey, hold on. To Sarit's defense, if you ever had one of those chocolate oranges at like Christmas time, you know the ones where you open the foil and then you go bang, and then
I think we tried it in your parents' home.
Chocolate orange.
Yeah,
it's good. It's legit.
And then I started dieting. So once I started dieting for cereal, I would have Special K, of course, with skim milk.
Less calories.
Yeah, and on the weekends, I would have granola with skim milk. Hey.
Okay, so let's move to today's topic.
Yeah. Well, I mean, okay, so I want to know from you guys. How has your dessert breakfast evolved?
Well, you asked them what their go-to was. So I saw bear claws, I saw donuts, I saw not much of a dessert person, but I've had pizza for breakfast.
Me too.
I've totally had pizza for breakfast. Chocolate chip muffins, golden grams. Most cereals, like most mainstream cereals, are desserts.
Yeah. I don't know what golden grams and bear claws are.
Golden grams. Oh, golden grams are good. Bear Claw's a donut. It's like a massive.
Oh, that, yes. Let's go. Okay. All right. So whether you are a happy hour person or not, this goes beyond happy hour. Actually, drop HH if you're a happy hour person, because my prediction is that the ES crew, we ain't so much about happy hour. We like to go to bed early.
I mean, but okay, substitute happy hour for drinks.
Okay,
like
just
drinks
for
are a good
anything,
part
anything
of,
social.
Yeah, social. I mean, anything social is usually like there's food around, right? There's food or drinks or both around, or snacks or something, right? Something physically consumable and digestible.
Snacky, snack. Okay.
Snatty snaps.
So the first thing that you should know, a big misconception that's floating out there in the ether, is that being social and getting ahead of your goals is impossible. And I share this with you because...
Can I say it another way too?
Yeah.
In order to reach your body transformation goals, you have to give up the things that you have fun doing, which often includes being social.
Or stop going to, like social gatherings.
I'm pretty sure that's what it means to not be social.
Okay. Well, you said stop, like,
giving up things that are fun.
Okay. I guess I just thought about
you guys get
not
it.
just events. Yeah. So that is a big misconception. And the reality is that yes, you can have it both. And there are a couple mechanical things that go into it. And also the other thing to remember is that there's also a process. Okay, because we have to consider the mechanical stuff in terms of food, and we also have to consider the process stuff with regards to other people.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you want to begin by talking about some of the mechanical stuff, and then we'll talk about the process?
Yeah. Well, so one of the, I think let's go like, a big part of like being social, followed by like, how do we do it just better than, right? Because if you've been in this community for a while, but if you haven't, we're very, very big on progress over perfection. So better than is better than. So rather than thinking, oh, I can never go out anymore. Oh, I can never eat this or that, or I can't, go to these restaurants or anything like that. It's more just, how do I be better in that scenario? So one of the things, because food and drink is kind of the topic of discussion here while being social. If there are drinks, one way that you can be better than, and you're in choosing beverages, is to just be consciously aware of the type of drinks that you're choosing, rather than saying, oh, I'm just not going to drink. Now, this is talking about if we're starting out. Now, again, like Sarit said, there's a process or an evolution. So one place you start at, in order to continue improving, the better thans also get to improve. Mm-hmm. So if we're just starting out, it is more of like instead of cutting drinks completely, I still want to enjoy myself and be part of the social gathering and everybody's drinking, then I'm going to choose a better than type of drink. So what are some options that they can choose that are better than, so they don't have to feel guilty about participating in adult beverages?
Yeah. So, I mean, it depends on what it is that you like to drink. So let's go over different categories. Let's say if you're a beer person. By the way, if you're a beer person, drop a beer. And what is your favorite beer? Back in the day when I used to drink beer, I used to actually really enjoy beer. Weinsteffen, which is a German beer, was my absolute favorite. So, with regards to beer, a better than beer option is normally the IPAs or the beers that have a heavier alcohol volume are also the beers that are more dense. So, like go for a lighter beer, for example, or a stout. Okay. So that's thing number one with regards for beer. Now, a lot of people can say, or sometimes a progression could be, oh, instead of beer, do cider because cider does not have any gluten. Something that's really important to consider with regards to cider is that most of the ciders out there are actually fully loaded with added sugar. Also, if you're a beer person, because maybe you like the bubbly, nowadays there's a lot of these like spiked like seltzers and stuff that can definitely be a better than option as well, because it's got lighter alcohol volume and also less processed carbs. Okay, so that's thing number one. If you're a wine person, um, you know of course, the sweeter wines like the Moscatos, that sort of thing, they have a higher sugar volume. Going for, the lighter options like the Pinot Grigio instead of the Riesling, or, like the Pinot Noir instead of the, whatchamacallit, Moscato. That could be a better option. And, with regards to like bubbly, going for like brut champagne rather than a prosecco, right? Like little things like that will make a difference. And then of course, with regards to like cocktails and or alcohol, something that you want to make sure of, number one, if you like, always take a look at the menu and make sure that a cocktail does not have anything along the lines of triple sec or simple syrup. Agave is fine. If it does have agave, go for a light agave. And then, with regards to whatever mixers, like what are you putting? For example, like, if normally a person, let's say, orders a vodka cranberry, maybe instead of vodka cran, go for vodka club soda splash of cran, right? Like things like that reduce the overall intake of the added sugar will go a long way. Okay?
I want to put into perspective how far making a simple change like that will go. So let's say, by the way, like one of our go-tos whenever we would go out and have a drink, which is very rare nowadays, but still there, is usually some kind of clean margarita. If there's agave, we'll do light agave. Otherwise it's like extra lime, tequila, splash of club, something like that.
Yeah. And also one more thing to note, opt for the clear liquors rather than the darker ones. The darker ones normally have a sugar content along with it. So just something to know.
So let's say we did a simple, let's take a mimosa, for example. Let's take a mimosa with orange juice and with Prosecco versus like a drier champagne and less orange juice. So still the same drink, just a little bit different, a little bit better. Now, let's say with the OJ, grams of sugar wise, if we did half, how many grams do you think we would take it down from to?
Well, it all depends on how much OJ are we putting.
Okay, let's say an ounce.
Okay, so
like a shot.
So let's see how much sugar is in an ounce of OJ. So let's look at Tropicana orange juice. By the way, juices in and of itself just have a shit ton of added sugar. So you know.
The reason I used this drink is because it's very common, and it's also very social. And it is also a juice with an alcohol, which is very common, even if it's not a mimosa, juice with alcohol or soda with alcohol. So an ounce, let's just for the sake of the example, let's just say there's like, what would you say, 4 grams of sugar, 5 grams of sugar in an ounce, maybe?
Probably. Yeah.
Okay, 4 or 5 grams. Let's say 4 for simplicity. And then we're going to take 2 grams of sugar off of that. Okay, so we're going to go half. So say we're going from 4 grams of sugar per drink to 2. Let's say you have 2 mimosas. Let's just say 2 mimosas or 2 typical drinks that have juice and alcohol in them twice per week. So let's say 4 total per week, which is more than what some people do, but a lot less than what other people do. So let's say we have 4 drinks total, each with, we're down to 2 grams of sugar. So we're at 8 grams of sugar, 52 weeks out of the year times 52. That's 416 grams of sugar throughout the year.
Wow.
Times that by 4, because every gram of sugar has 4 calories. That's 1,664 calories throughout the year.
That's about half a pound.
That is about a half of a pound. So if we were to double that, now you can take your own unique situation. Maybe you don't consume that much. Maybe you consume more, and you can decide for yourself. I just wanted to put it into perspective for how much a small change really does add up. Okay. Because, and it's like, yeah, throughout a year, a half a pound, oh, big deal. The problem is that if we try to make big changes, we often don't stick to them. So we don't fulfill that anyway. If you make a small change that's so subtle that it's not really difficult for you, then you know you can keep up with it. And then let's say 2 years down the road, 3 years down the road, you've done this times 3. That's now a pound and a half. Okay, cool. Still not a big thing, but guess what? Monumental changes in your body do not happen without incremental shifts. Okay, so that's perspective on that.
Yeah. I mean, and I want you to think about the biggest misconception about, like body transformation is that it needs to happen quick, because a lot of times we tend to focus on it like we want to get serious when the deadline is aggressive, when the reality is that when you do it right, like, yes, you can be aggressive. However, an aggressive approach to start with is not going to lead you to ultimate freedom. So you do want to think in terms of long term. So for example, if you were to simply apply that small tweak over a lifespan, that is basically a 20-pound difference in a matter of 20 years, just with that small tweak. Like, think about it. If a person was to change nothing else but that, they can literally sell themselves 20 pounds. Is it any wonder why, the older people get, the more the bigger their waistline gets? It's because even if not much was to change, small changes over time, for better or for worse, right? Like, creates a long-term impact. And that goes for, the opposite direction as well, right? Like with regards to gaining muscle, with regards to reduced metabolism, right? That's why, like, people from their 20s to their 30s to their 40s to their 50s to their 60s look different. And that's why it is always important, when you play the game right, when you actually know how to play the game, that you maintain your body composition and your figure, because it is incremental steps. And I'm also going to throw out a word that we have to take into consideration. Incremental sacrifices are going to lead to long-term results. And everybody wants the aggressive byproduct without the incremental sacrifices.
But even if you think of an incremental sacrifice, doesn't feel like a sacrifice.
No, and that's the beauty of it, because it's not a big deal.
Did you guys know that as of July 9th, 2022, by the way, this is from Google, so take it or leave it. I don't really know the...
but what article?
Average alcohol consumption among Americans. I don't know the efficacy of this, so take it with a grain of salt. But 494 drinks per year per average American, which is 9.5 per week.
That's awful.
I mean, it is what it is. I don't know. It's awful to you. That's, to some people, that's just life, right?
Yeah, and to some people that's also a progression. However, from a standard of living standpoint, if our average is 10 servings of alcohol, I'll tell you that
let's say even if it's
we are
9
compromised.
times an average
We're compromised.
of like 160 calories per drink, right, per week, that's 1440 per week times 52 weeks. That's 74,000, almost 75,000 calories divided by 3,500 calories in a pound.
That's like 20 pounds.
That's 21 pounds.
Yeah.
In a year.
Callie, what do you think about that,
So
Callie?
even if somebody literally cut it in half, not even stopped, that's 10 pounds in a year.
Yeah.
Without doing anything else. So that's just for context, perspective, understanding, whatever. That doesn't put everybody into one single box. That just helps you understand some kind of gauge.
Yeah.
Cool? Okay, the other thing. We eat out a lot. It's part of our social life, right? Going to dinner with family, birthdays, whatnot. So one thing that Sarit and I do all the time is if we're going to a restaurant, we always look at the menu before we go to the restaurant. And we plan ahead and we figure out what are we going to get. If it's just us, we don't really think about what are we going to get first, but we do look at the menu to make sure, hey, there's things that we can pick. But if we're going with other people, I know for myself, I want to make sure I know what I'm getting before I arrive. That way, when everybody's socializing at the table at the beginning, I don't have to try to hurry through a decision to make. I already know what I'll be getting, so I can socialize when the waitress comes or whoever. I'm like, yeah, I'm good, and I don't have to make a last minute.
Yeah, and most importantly, it's not even about the speed of the decision; it's the informed decision, right? It's because it is intentional. You know that it matches your needs and wants at the same time, and you did that yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
If you guys watched Thursday's Espresso, you know that both of our parents are staying with us right now. And yesterday we went for a beach walk, followed by getting some food. And, you know, everybody was throwing out ideas and, you know, like,
come on, we get Mexican.
Or, we get sloppy Joe.
Let's get Chinese.
And, you know, like, Erin took charge because she knew what our standards were. And she said, okay, if I know that whichever place we pick, they have decent options that are in alignment with our lifestyle and our goals.
And enough variety for everybody to choose something that they're satisfied with.
Yeah.
We went to Thai/sushi. So it was good because there was a million different options.
Yeah.
Anywho, another thing that I was thinking about is not being afraid to ask questions about what things are on the menu. Sometimes we get this weird, like, oh, somebody's going to judge me, or this is a stupid question, or people like you are probably the most particular person I ever order with. Mm-hmm. I want this, but I want none of this, and I want like this, and I would like to have this on the side, and can I get double that? Like, there's like 19 modifications to the meal, and somebody could easily discourage her from doing that by being like, gosh, like, why do you have to be so difficult? Like, and those type of comments that we were going to talk about on Thursday, right? The naysaying type comments that are like, why do you have to be so complicated? Like, oh gosh, hurry up. Like, it's inconveniencing people at the table, or somebody else is embarrassed because of what she's asking and how particular she wants to be. Like, you're at a restaurant paying for a service, paying for a food. Like, in America, we do have a privilege and a blessing to be able to get things the way that we want them. And so, you know, life will give you what you demand out of it. And if you don't demand anything out of your life. You get whatever you're given.
Mm-hmm.
So another thing too is to stand strong in what your own personal standards are. And if you need to ask a question about something, or if you need to make modifications to something, to not feel embarrassed about it, to not feel ashamed about it, to know that like what's going in my body is very important to me. And if I have the privilege and the benefit and the blessing of making it the way that I need it to be for my standards, then shoot, I'm going to.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, and I'll tell you why I do that. And if I know that I'm going to be extra to a waiter or a waitress, for one, can I please ask this entire community to be kind to servers? I myself used to be a server for a long, long time, and one of the things that break my heart is that people treat servers like servants. Just because they're serving you does not mean that they owe you anything. And I believe that the attitude that you have towards the person is also going to determine the quality of service that you're going to get in return.
100%.
So if I know that I'm going to be extra, the first thing that I'll say is, hey, just so you know, I'm going to come at you with a bunch of questions, and I really appreciate you, taking the time to answer them. So, if there's anything that's unclear or anything that I believe should be emphasized that is not emphasized based on what I know, I make sure to ask all these questions to make sure that my decision is as informed as possible. And the reason why for me it's important is because I believe that whenever you go out to eat, there should be an intention behind it. Most people don't live this way because most people don't make it a point to learn the life habits necessary to take care of themselves. I believe that learning how to cook is an essential skill for life. So Erin and I do not depend on restaurants for our nutrition. And I believe that the same thing should go for you. You should not depend on other people to take care of your nutrition, because then you're letting other people control what's going on in your body, knowing that the state of this country is that 70% of this country is obese. Okay, which means that if you're letting somebody else who has lower standards than you probably take care of your food, then you're now lowering your standard by default. Okay, I will tell you that every single restaurant that we go to, I think there's probably only one restaurant whose standards are equally as high as ours. And that's
Campfire.
well, they have high standards. No, there's one that has higher standards.
Who?
And that's why every time we
Let's
go
give
to
them a
that
shout
place,
out.
yes, good on ya in Encinitas, California.
Good on you.
That place was created for a reason. And that's why we go there all the time, because it is literally in full alignment.
If you look back in our espresso episodes, actually, I believe we interviewed the owner, Chris, is her name, if I remember right.
Yeah.
Super high standards, all locally sourced food, super clean.
Yeah. It's all intentional.
Yeah.
So anyways, I share this with you because I believe that eating out should be intentional, right? So like for us, whenever we go out to eat, it's to get an experience. And the reason why it's important, in my opinion, to, make sure that you make an informed decision, because I know that for me, if the decision that I make with regards to what I put in my body is not informed, I will have regrets. And therefore, I will not be present in that experience. And I would also resent that experience. And I don't know about you, but I believe that life is too short to live in resentment. I believe that life is way too short to, live in regret. And you know what? If it takes an extra minute out of my time to ask all of my questions, then be it, right? Like life is a give and take. So just, especially if you feel like, oh, I feel bad for asking questions. No, you're the consumer. You should always get all the information that you need before making any decision.
You talked about resentment. So I'm going to take a little golden nugget and then it's going to be a little side nugget. If you ever feel resentment, it's because you didn't uphold a boundary.
Yes.
Or a standard that
Let's go.
You set for yourself. You broke the boundary. Now you feel resentful. And unfortunately, it's usually means that somebody else is the punching bag of your resentment when you are the one that broke a boundary.
Oh, that's
when
good.
you are the one that let down your standard that you have previously set for yourself. So there's
Powerful.
a little golden side nugget you can have there. Okay, the third one we'll talk about. The third big one is like having friends that are also active, and everything doesn't have to always be around food and drinks. So there's a great time and place for food and drinks, right? Like Sarit said, talking about it being an experience and having an intention to it. And for anybody who's like gonna think to themselves now that every time they go out through the drive-through, this is an experience, stop. I'm having an experience because I'm short on time. Stop it. Okay, so having friends that are active, having friends that like to get out and do things and move their body, and everything doesn't have to be around food and drinks, is super important, because we talk a lot about environment, and the people you surround yourself are part of your environment, and you will become similar to those that you are constantly around. It's a law of something. I don't know, but it's the truth that the more time you spend around certain people, the more you all will become similar to one another. And I'll tell you, the most dominant standards or personalities or traits will become the ones that most people end up becoming like. So in that group, or that, circle. Yeah. So if you've ever like come to one of our live events, one of our in-person events, which I think we're planning on doing toward the end of the year. I don't really know. Anywho, if you've ever been to one of our in-person live events, you know it is not hard to stay on track with your goals. Why? Because you know you're going to be moving your body, because you know that any of the food that we order is going to be per our standards, which are high standards. And you're going to be around people that understand you and are not going to force you or tempt you or pressure you into doing anything you don't want to do, because this is our community, right? So your environment really matters. So if you currently, this is going to be hard for, I hope it's not hard for anybody to hear, but if it is, it's out of so much love and compassion from me, is if you have lazy friends, you're going to be lazy. Because anytime you guys all hang out, nobody wants to do anything but sit around, right?
Yeah.
So like, not that you have to ditch your old friends, but like maybe consider getting more new ones, or joining some kind of, like, if you're in our Facebook group, that's amazing. You're putting yourself in an environment where people are that way. People are active. People are increasing their standards. We all are trying to get better. We all are working on having better attitudes and improving ourselves. And that's a great environment to surround yourself with. If it's local to you, even better. If there's some kind of group, I don't know, Sunday paddleboarding, or, whatever the activity is, bowling, I don't know, something where there's movement, there's activity, to surround yourself with people who, not everything has to do with eating and drinking all the time.
Yeah. And this is where the process piece goes into place, because we love people. And I believe that if you're a good person, you want to make peace with people.
You don't want to make enemies.
Well, I like to rephrase it in a positive manner. Like,
you want people to feel cared about.
Yeah.
So you're not going to say, I can't hang out with you anymore because.
Right. And because we become who we surround ourselves with. It's a process of reaching up, raising standards, and also understanding how much you're going to tolerate from those who drag you down.
Something really cool, though.
It's kind of like a this type thing. At least that's how it's been for I'll give me 20 seconds. At least that's how it's been for me. Like, I'll tell you, like, most of the people, like, I used to go out to bars and like drink all the freaking time, right? And especially like, this is not like, you know, if you're LGBTQ, I believe that like a lot of like lesbian and gay events or whatever it may be,
Drinking.
you know, are well, it's probably not just like lesbian or gay. I think it's just an adult thing, right? But it's like when, you know,
Festivals.
meeting people, right? Especially maybe something that has to do with dating. There's a lot of alcohol involved. And when you are in the scene, like you want to be known, you know, like you're going to be surrounded by a lot of alcohol, and it's really easy to want to drink more. So like, I'll tell you, I used to drink every single weekend. I used to party really freaking hard. However, my environment has shifted. It didn't happen overnight. And I didn't tell, you know, like people who I used to like go out to drink with literally every Friday, Saturday, Sunday, oh, I can't be friends with you because you drink alcohol. It doesn't happen this way. But when you audit your environment, especially disconnection is going to matter. Sometimes confrontation will have to take place. Now, the hardest form of confrontation is confrontation that needs to happen within our home. And that's why I say it's a process.
Yep.
And that's why it's also really important to make sure that you don't go through it alone, because left to your own devices, I believe that it's really easy to get manipulated by a friend, by a person that you love, right? Because they know you and they know like what touches your feelings, and they can say something that like really strikes a chord, right? So it's always good to have a voice of reason, especially when you know that something is a challenge. And that's why it's also really important to immerse yourself with people who've gone through that. So that I know that a bunch of people in our community, they've gone to a point where they've made strides so far where there was no longer alignment with certain people that were in their environment, maybe even their home. And, you know, again, like in order for you to go from point A to point B, like you're going to need to give up the spot that you're currently in. Now, I'm not saying that, you know, like a separation needs to happen, but like, when you are heading in the right direction, expect your social community to shift. And I believe that that is probably one of the biggest things to overcome, especially for women. I believe that it is the emotional attachment to food, because what a lot of people don't realize is that sometimes, or most times, when we're emotionally attached to our foods and drinks, it's because there's something deeper that we need to cope with and that we need to learn to gain control over so it doesn't own us and we can stay clear in the first place. And I think the other piece to it, it is the, you know, social component of, you know, like, how do I gather the courage to reach up to the people that I'm inspired by that could potentially really help me, and also, you know, start setting boundaries and continually set boundaries with those that could potentially hold me back.
Yep. Our buddy Bedros calls it 20 degrees of separation.
Yeah.
When you are in, this is when Sarit's talking about how it's happened to some people in our community where you make changes to your own life. And, you know, the hardest one is a significant other, because you're so close to them. You have a connection with them. You have history with them. And if you could start to improve you in general, and you start making these changes to your life that you feel amazing about, but they have, you know, it goes two ways. One way is they don't make any changes. So you both are right here and you start making changes. And now the lifestyle you're creating is not what it was here, but there still is. So they either don't make any changes. And if there's too much separation, if there's too many degrees of separation between what you guys are commonly interested in, it's not going to work. It's either going to be a miserable relationship that you stay in, or you're not going to stay in it. You grow together or you grow apart. Other thing that happens is grow together. You start making changes, And then they're inspired by the changes that you've started making. They can see the positive results that are happening in your life. And they are like, okay, cool. Well, I mean, like, I guess, like, let me start making some of these changes too. And you grow together. Right?
Yeah.
So those are the two. But if there's a bigger separation here, it's going to be really challenging if it even holds together. Now, hold on. Other thing is, you can be a source of inspiration and encouragement to your group of friends in the same way.
Yeah.
So if you are wanting to keep your friend, maybe you've had these friends since you were like in high school and your BFFs, you've been forever, but you both know that you're both unhealthy. You both always try to go on a diet and lose weight at the same time. You both always kind of struggle and then quit, and then the circle continues. I don't know, but I think it's very common. And so if you end up making real lasting changes, and then that friend, like, you can encourage them and inspire them, maybe come with you to the gym or whatever. And in the moment where you both usually quit, you don't, you can bring them with you.
Mm-hmm.
And that is the most beautiful thing ever, because the ripple effect of how not only you inspired them, but how they then could potentially inspire somebody else.
Yeah.
And it goes. So the magnitude of you sticking to your commitment to better yourself, your physical body, your internal body, any of it, can have a massive ripple effect that you don't even understand.
Yeah. Yeah. And, with regards to going through that process, I want you to know there is an art behind it. And that art is called, the strategy that you're following through with. Well, I guess that's the science component of it. The art is communication. And that is a complete, maybe one day we should just have a course about it. But, how can you be the cause of transformation and enlighten people? Because we have to consider the fact that based on personality types, 70% of society is going to freak out by any change that you make. It's like, if you start to change your diet, start to change your patterns, they're going to freak out. But how do we set the stage in an enlightening way that reduces the tension? Of course, by the end of the day, we cannot control how other people respond. However, we can control how we set the stage up for it. You know what I mean? And that too is an art in and of itself. And, I wish the school system would teach that. But
I'm reading your guys' comments, and I love this. Like, when you have, Natasha said, I was fussing last week. Husband brought fudge and zebra cakes.
What is a zebra cake?
I don't know. I imagine it being
Like
some kind of
fudges.
striped chocolate vanilla cake. Anywho, and it made me think about, I don't know if this is the case, so this is not specifically about this comment, but what it made me think about is the other scenario in a significant other or a spouse relationship, where if we go back to you both being here and you start to make changes in your life, and they actually try to sabotage you without even consciously being aware that they are trying to sabotage you, because it makes them feel better and it makes them feel less pressure to make changes in their life.
Yeah.
They'll bring shit into the house on purpose. They'll make comments on purpose. Maybe not even understanding that they are trying to sabotage you, because they're likely not even aware of themselves if that's what they're doing. But it happens and it's real life. And so it's something to pay attention to. And then also, that would be another conversation, a finesse type conversation that you want to have, is like, why somebody would not want you to be better is because it makes them feel insecure about themselves not being better or not wanting to be better.
Mm-hmm.
It's reality.
Yeah. Anything else you
Like,
want to add?
somebody said something to you the other day that made you question a couple of things about you. And we had a really good conversation about how what somebody says to you is not a reflection of you. It is a reflection of what internally that person is experiencing, and you have no idea. And then what we came to find out, it was exactly that. It was exactly that.
Yeah, it's just, and this, again, this is going back to communication. Words are powerful, and somebody can have the best intentions. However, if the message lands the wrong way, and I'm grateful that I'm extremely self-aware, that I'm this far along in my journey, even though I will tell you, it fucking hit me hard.
And it happens with
us.
It
hit me hard. Like Friday, like I bawled during my workout. Do you know how much, like in how much emotional pain or triggered you must be to be able through a high intensity workout to literally just have tears come out 3 times, and then afterwards I was yapping for like 10 minutes, and I'm grateful for, like, to have such a supportive partner that, Aaron coached me through it, and, Friday was a great day.
But it even happens with us. We have wonderful intentions. I go to sleep so good every night because I know my heart and how I wake up to serve people and the effort that I put into doing that. But even sometimes our message doesn't land. Even sometimes people are offended by what we say. Even sometimes we're bold enough to speak about what we stand for and what we believe to be honestly true and genuine and authentic to us, and people don't like it. And I really believe that in this world, when you can lay your head on your pillow every single night and know, I'm a good human, and I did everything that I could do today to make something better, whether it's myself, my community, the country, my, state, whatever it is. And you know that you had the greatest intentions for every move that you made that day, 100% of people are not going to agree with you. 100% of the people are not going to like what your hair looks like. 100% of the people are not going to like the way you smile or how your teeth are structured. 100% of the people are going to think that you said too many times. Not 100% of the people are not going to appreciate your ums. Like, it's just impossible. But I very, very firmly believe that everything happens on purpose. And so even when somebody's offended, I truly believe that that person needs to feel that in that moment for whatever reason it benefits their life for.
Yeah.
So, anywho.
Yeah. And this is the power of a supportive community, right? Like in those moments, who's got your back?
Yeah.
Right? Like shoulder to cry. So we hope you found a lot of value in today's conversation. And check this out. If you know that,
Wait, before you go, I don't know what you're going to say, but I want you to stay for this. Sometimes I feel like people are going to like click out of here when they think we're going to end. We're doing a challenge. I don't know if this is what you were going to say.
No.
But we have a challenge coming up, and it's going to start on the 24th of this month. And it's going to be a challenge we've never done before. It's going to be amazing. It's free. It's 5 days. And go to the email that we sent about this video that we did live. I don't remember what the subject line is, but it came from Emunah Strength. So check your spam, check your promotions folders, or your inbox or whatever. Sarit will tell you what the subject line is so you can actually search for it. At the bottom, there's a PS. And in that PS, there's a link you can click on to sign up for the free challenge that we're going to be doing starting the 24th. It's called the Spring Leaning Challenge. Because if I have anything to do with it, and Sarit has anything to do with it, y'all are going to feel better than you feel right now by the time summer gets here. Okay?
That is our vision for you guys. Because we know that when it comes time for a bathing suit, the first thing that we think about is, how do I look in that bathing suit? How do I feel? Well, I put it in my folders, and on my phone, I don't know how to open it.
It says live now, how to socialize without sabotaging your weight loss.
Okay, great. The other thing that I want to share with you is, if you know that enhancing your social life and harmonizing it with your goals is something that you want help and you want to be coached on, just in the chat, go ahead and drop coach me. And, we will see whatever it is that you need help with. And, like, the first thing that I want you to remember is that please know that life is not an either or game. You do and can have it all. The first thing that you need to do is you need to open up your mind to that opportunity. And the second thing that you need to do is you need to surround yourself with people who can teach you how to do that and who walk that walk. And if Erin and I and our team have anything to do with that, we will make sure to do our best to help you harmonize your goals with your social life. It is a process. And sometimes there are trials and tribulations. And one thing is for sure is that you don't want to walk through it alone. Okay, so if you know that you want to optimize your environment, just go ahead and drop coach me in the chat. And perhaps somebody on our team one of our coaches can see how they can help you out with that. Or maybe Erin and myself, we're here to help you. We love you guys. We believe in you.
So actually, I've done this for the last couple of weeks and it's going really amazing and people really are enjoying it. I've opened time in my calendar. I don't know if you also, but I've opened time in my calendar to have conversations with people. I know how I have talked to hundreds, if not close to 1,000 or more people. And what I know is that I can only help you as much as you want to help yourself. So I'm open my calendar so that I can schedule time to have conversations with you, because I genuinely want to help you figure out, what do you do with your unique scenario? Where do you go? And so if you're new here or you haven't watched for the last few episodes, and you are interested in doing something with us and working with us to some capacity, or you're at least open-minded to, if our conversation goes a direction where I truly genuinely believe that one of our programs or coaching scenarios will work best for you, that I make that recommendation and you're open to that, then please like send me an email, Erin@erinandsarit.com. I'm going to put it here. I've had several conversations over the last couple of weeks and it just lights me up. Like at the end of the day, I feel so good because I know that regardless of the direction of the conversation, I made an impact, and it's just super fun to get to know you guys better. So Erin
we love you guys. And so today is actually, it's one of my dearest friend's birthday. It's a very, very special day today. And I FaceTimed her at, 6:30 and she was opening up gifts. So then I just took a video, and, she's one of those people who just gets life that way. I believe that you do too. That's why you're in this community. And we want to help you to implement your life in the way that you get it, because there's more out there for you. And, I told her, like, life is too short for mediocre coffee, mediocre sex, mediocre relationships, mediocre anything. And if you know that you're currently living your life in a state of mediocrity because you have either settled or you just don't know how to play life in a way where your goals are being harmonized with whatever life it is that you want to create, then just go ahead and come and coach me. We're here to help you to create that. If you know that you love alcohol, let's figure out a way to keep alcohol in your life. If you know that you love pizza, then let's figure out a way to harmonize that. If you know that you currently have a big obstacle in the road, listen, it's time to confront it. What you resist persists. All that I know is that life is too short to be mediocre. And if today was your last day, how the heck would you want to live it? You got to be responsible. But you also have to know that you only live once. Okay, so how do we marry the two?
So good.
Okay.
So good. All right, you guys, have a beautiful week. Have a beautiful day. Be great, because that is what you came here to be. And we believe in you. And if there's anything that we can do to help you, to support you, to help you navigate through whatever situation you're going through, please shoot one of us an email. I put them both in the comments, and we are here to help.
Much love, guys.
Bye.